Welcome to Special Expression Lecture Series conducted by Gurukul Live Lectures with my co-host Manisha Sharma. Today we will be talking on measurement of happiness. So, Gross National Happiness Index by Bhutan's approach is a very novel index which talks about the method of gauging a nation's resident well-being and the happiness. Now, this index covers a wider range of characteristics which entails the well-being and the quality of life as opposed to the old methods like GDP, which only concentrates on the economic indicators. So, it has very important elements and places a strong emphasis on the balanced economic growth and the benefits it has to all facets of society, which is more sustainable and the equitable socio-economic development. So, it takes into account the living conditions, income disparities, accessibility to fundamental services. Bhutan has placed always the strong priority on the distinctive cultural heritage, the environmental factors which have a direct impact on the people's well-being. So, environmental sustainability, the natural resource management and the ecological variety are all evaluated by the Gross National Happiness Index. The community vitality, that is the social cohesiveness and participation in the local community, are also very critical for the overall health. And also, it takes into account the health care and the education accessibility by all the people of society. Now, implementing and the measurement of this particular index, the surveys and evaluations of the Bhutanese civilization are used to operationalize the Gross National Happiness Index. These polls measures how people perceive and access their own well-being as well as how satisfied they are with the various facets of life. The answers are used to create a comprehensive index that measures the population's overall happiness and the well-being. Bhutan's approach to gross national happiness incorporates it into its policy and the decision-making process, directing the developmental activities and the policies that align with the welfare and the happiness of the population, including the programs for the health care, environmental protection, cultural preservation and the education. Now, coming on to international reach, Bhutan has drawn attention from throughout the world for emphasizing the well-being and happiness as the indicators of growth. Discussions regarding redefining development objectives beyond economic growth have been sparked by the idea of gross national happiness. Globally, there is now a greater understanding of the significance of the social justice, environmental sustainability and holistic well-being in policy debates and the developmental initiatives. So, we can say that Bhutan's Gross National Happiness Index provides a comprehensive and people-centric methods for assessing the progress and the well-being, aiming to create a peaceful, balanced society that values the happiness and the well-being of its residents by considering the various indicators of life satisfaction and the quality of life. Now let us talk about the World Happiness Report. Yes, we are talking about a global perspective. An yearly publication called the World Happiness Reports assigns a ranking to the nations depending on how happy and prosperous they are. By evaluating many aspects of people's well-being and the quality of life, it provides a worldwide perspective on happiness. The researchers, economists, and the subject matter experts from all across the world worked together to produce the report, which offers the insightful information about the variables that influence the happiness on a worldwide scale. Now, the World Happiness Report's main characteristics are subjective well-being. The World Happiness Report mainly relies on the information about the people's perception of their own happiness and life satisfaction. The surveys and the questionnaires that record people's perception of their own well-being are used to get this data. So we can say that this type of data collection is participatory in nature, and people participate wholeheartedly in order to collect this data. After the data is collected, the happiness scores are calculated by averaging the answers to the inquiries about happiness and the life satisfaction. Now, these results are used to rank the nations according to their happiness levels from highest to the lowest. And then the World Happiness Report also offers some comparisons between the nations and the regions, which helps and enabling the people about knowing deeply about the academics, the member of the general public, to comprehend how the various variables affect the happiness in the various civilizations. The indicators of happiness, according to the World Happiness Report, include, according to this particular report, the many important characteristics continuously affect the happiness worldwide. So we talk about money. Money alone cannot buy happiness. Yet, a certain degree of wealth is definitely required to meet one's fundamental necessities and provide one sense of security. Social support. People tend to have supportive families, communities, and the social networks. Healthy life expectancy. A longer life expectancy and access to high quality health care are benefits to the well-being. The choices and the freedom. Possessing a sense of control over one's life and having the freedom to make decisions in life have a beneficial impact on happiness. A sense of security and the well-being is cultivated by trust in the government, institutions, and the social support networks. Altruism and generosity. Practicing these traits is linked to higher level of enjoyments. Conflict and corruptions. The societies with less political instability, corruption, typically score better on the happiness scales. The global effects. Policymakers, government, and organizations all across the world have shown a tremendous amount of interest in the acknowledgement for the World Happiness Reports. It promotes a shift in the emphasis away from just economic growth towards a more all-encompassing strategy that places a higher priority on the well-being and the pleasure of citizens. So, discussions about the significance of the social policy, environmental sustainability, and neighborhood well-being in forming a thriving society have been sparked by the report. The World Happiness Reports provides a thorough and comparative analysis of happiness and the well-being worldwide. The report adds to a worldwide conversation on redefining the progress and attaining a higher human well-being by emphasizing the elements that affect the happiness and offering the policy recommendations. Now we talk about happiness and economic indicators, that is gross domestic product, gross national income and beyond. Now, these metrics have historically been used to gauge a nation's development and advancement. However, there is a growing understanding that these economic metrics, which is related with money, by themselves are insufficient to fully reflect a population well-being and the pleasure and happiness. So let's explore the connection between the happiness and the economic measures, as well as a necessity of taking a wider variety of elements into account. Gross national income and gross domestic product. These two are most popular economic indicators for assessing a nation's economic performance and general development are its GDP and GNI. They concentrate respectively on the value of goods and services generated within a nation's boundaries and the wages of its citizens. These indicators have limits when it comes to accurately portraying the well-being and the satisfaction of a nation's population, even if they offer crucial information regarding a nation's economic activities. There are some limitations also. They have a limited scope since they only record the economic activity and the income, not how it is distributed or how it affects the people's lives. Even in a nation with a high GDP, there may be serious social problems and income disparity, neglecting non-market activities. These matrices frequently fail to take into consideration non-market activities that improve the well-being but are not taken into account in economic calculations such as household chorus and the volunteers. The quality of life, important determinants of the well-being such as access to the health care, quality of education, the environment and the social support are not taken into account by GDP and GNI. Externalities. Economic progress sometimes comes at the expense of resource depletion and environmental degradation, which can have a detrimental impact on long-term well-being. Now, beyond gross domestic product, there has been a push to investigate other measurements that offer a more holistic view of development and the well-being in light of the shortcomings of gross domestic product and gross national income. Now, these alternative measures seek to include social and environmental, physiological elements that affect happiness in addition to economic success. These alternative indicators include gross national happiness. As has previously been discussed about, Bhutan Gross National Index takes a comprehensive approach to measuring the happiness and takes into account a wide range of variables in addition to the economic data. So the measurement becomes more comprehensive. Then we have a Human Development Index called HDI. This provides a more comprehensive assessment of the human development and the well-being by combining the variables such as life expectancy, education and income. Happy Planet Index, that is HPI. The Happy Planet Index measures the sustainability of well-being through time by taking into consideration the well-being, life expectancy and the ecological footprints. Now, beyond economic data, the Social Progress Index, that is SPI, assesses the social and the environmental elements that influence the human well-being. Now, let us talk about the economic development and the happiness. While increased possibilities and living standards are the benefits of economic progress, the connection between economic indicators and happiness is more nuanced. According to research, income and wealth growth have declining rewards after happiness reaches a certain level. The feeling of purpose, community involvement, mental and physical health, and the social support are other elements that have a big impact on happiness. As a result, while economic metrics like GDP and GNI are useful for assessing a nation's economic performance, they don't fully account for pleasure and the well-being. Now, this shift to the alternative measures and more comprehensive view of development acknowledges the significance of taking into account the social, environmental and psychological elements when evaluating the general standard of living for people and for society. So, measuring happiness through social indicators, education, healthcare and social support, evaluating the well-being and the standard of living of people and the groups is necessary when attempting to quantify the happiness using the social variables like social support, health care and education. Now, these metrics can offer insightful information on a population general well-being and the level of life satisfaction. So, each of these factors affect the measurement of the happiness. Education, the most important factor is education, which has a deep impact on people's prospects in life and the overall well-being cannot be overstated. Assessing the access to the high-quality education and its effect on the human development is a necessary step in measuring the happiness through educational indicators. Now, there are some key aspects. Access to education, ensuring that everyone has equal access to education regardless of their socio-economic status, promotes the well-being by providing the chances for both personal and the professional development. Next is your educational attainment. Indicators of empowerment and skill development include an individual's education levels such as completion of primary, secondary and higher education. Also, we talk about cognitive development. Education improves the cognitive functions, the critical thinking abilities and the problem-solving skills, which improves the life happiness and the capacity to make wise decisions about one's course of action. The social mobility. Education may break the cycle of poverty, provide economic prospects and foster the social mobility, all of which contribute to an improved quality of life. We also talk about healthcare and its accessibility as a part of measurement of happiness through healthcare indicators, that is the access, preventive, curative mental health care. So, a higher quality of life, greater levels of life satisfaction are correlated with the stronger life expectancy rate, the physical, the mental well-being, the reduced stress, the social supports, the community connect, actually going on from one's own loneliness to a general connect with the public, social integration, resilience are definitely some important ways to increase the happiness. So, societies may endeavor to create such conditions and become more happy. Thank you so much.